Well, hello, Jerome is on. Good morning, good evening to all of you that will be joining and are joining now live. I have the absolute honor and pleasure to introduce and chat to the incredible Jerome Shaw. Now, I cannot wait to ask so many questions. We had a conversation, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and my goodness, this divine being, his presence, the way he speaks, the way he holds space, it's just absolutely beautiful. So without further ado, I would like to welcome there you are. Welcome, and thank you so much.
Wow. Wow, Nova, what an introduction. What an introduction. Oh my gosh.
I'm
Oh my
here
gosh.
with the master.
I felt that breath in the beginning. I felt your breath. Yeah.
Mm. Yes, I call this breath of life for many reasons, or for just one reason, clearly, because that's what we want to talk about and expand on. I'd love to hear, oh my God, so much. So many questions that had popped up and that I really wanted to, shoot back at you the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
So, get ready. No.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with you. Yeah.
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Today's been a very productive day, busy day, and I've just been enjoying it, just taking it breath by breath for sure.
Mm. You're a busy man now? My goodness. Well, I'm sure you were busy before, but wow. I'm absolutely loving all of the interviews that you've got going on, all the change makers, all the souls that are turning on the lights.
Yes. Yeah, you're one of them. You're one of them. So it's awesome to be on this side this time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would love to begin with letting us know who Jerome Shaw is. Give us a little bit about you, or a lot about you, however much you want to share. Where did you grow up? How was your journey up until now?
Okay, so where I grew up, that's interesting. So I was born in Germany. So I
Hmm.
was born in Stuttgart, Germany, and both of my parents were retired military, so they both served in the army. So that's why I was born overseas over there, and they were stationed there at the time when they had me. And I came back. We left Germany before I was before I was 1 year old, so I was still a toddler there, just still a baby, and came to the States, went from, Hinesville, Georgia, USA to, California, South Carolina, spent a lot of my days in South Carolina growing up. So that's mainly where I'm from, is South Carolina. It's on the East Coast here in the States. And then from there, you know, went to multiple different schools, multiple different, middle schools, high school, and then came to Texas, and then went back there, and then went to boarding school in Tennessee, and then like just really just moved around and was never really in one place for too long, always just in constant motion.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just definitely been a wild ride. But I came up not really knowing much about myself, not really in tune with myself. I came up, really lost in the virtual world, really lost in video games, really lost in just pleasurable activities that were my escape, kind of taking me away. And it wasn't until I guess my 20s, yeah, way later, that I learned about meditation. That was 2017. And
Mm.
2017 was when, ironically, through the same technology, I found these two apps, these applications, Nova. They're called Headspace and Insight Timer.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, Headspace and Insight Timer. These were two meditation apps that I came across while I was working one of the jobs, oh my goodness, one of the dozens of odd jobs that I was working just to make ends meet at the time, and wasn't really aligned with it, but I needed to I needed to sit down with myself, and they actually helped me. So in an odd way, the technology that was taking me away, it got me to tune back into myself and really sit down for my own mental health. And yeah, the rest was history after that. That kind of got me off on a different trajectory in a different direction for a deeper connection. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. Wow. So military, moving around a lot, gypsy lifestyle in a way.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, traveling. Yep. I'm very familiar. And yeah, to be almost in that consumed into the the electronic world or whatever we want to call it, into that space, but then to shift that into something that has completely changed your life and so many others that you're touching, and you will touch.
Wow.
That's
Thank you. Thank
Yeah, yeah.
you.
We talk about technology, and we can diss it, and we can diss social media, and we can diss all of it, right? Oh, there's so much rubbish, and it's such a waste of this, and blah, blah, blah. But look at what can happen. Look
Exactly.
at what can happen.
Yeah.
Mm,
Absolutely.
yeah, perspective.
For sure. For sure. We need that perspective, in the collective.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And for you, Jerome, when growing up, what was your diet like, and how was that side of things? Diet and lifestyle, obviously a lot of video games and that sort of thing, but
Well, yeah, that was, I mean, my diet, you're talking about my form of consumption, what I was eating? I
consuming
was raised, I was,
on a physical, yeah.
yeah, I was raised eating everything, Nova, everything. There was nothing really was off limits. The only thing that were kind of off limits was, I grew up in a very religious family. So on my dad's side, when I was with him, because my parents were divorced, when I was with him, we would go to church on Sundays. So it was Christian. Then on Saturdays, I would go to church with my mother, Seventh-day Adventist. And with the Seventh-day Adventist, my family all in California, they go to church on Saturdays. That's the Sabbath for them. And
Mm.
off limits for them is scavenger fish and scavenger fish and pork.
Mm-hmm.
Pork. So those were really the only two things that were off limits. So I wasn't eating ham, pigs, pork, like all that,
Yeah.
and I wasn't eating the scavenger fish. That was it. Everything else was fair game. Everything else growing up, I was consuming everything, just the chicken, the macaroni and cheese, the collard greens, the mashed potatoes, the cornbread, the meatloaf, like the spaghetti, the linguine, the fettuccine, everything,
All of it.
everything. There was no shortage. Oh my gosh. I'm 6'3",
Yeah.
so there was no shortage.
No,
I was putting it away. I was putting it away. Yeah, putting food away,
uh-huh.
packing it in pretty it was wild. Now that the lifestyle that I live now, I can only imagine, and I gotta pat myself on the back because I have no idea how I don't know how I did what I like my stomach. I don't know how, you know, just the it must have been stretched to capacity. I have no idea how I was able to put away as much food as I did because it was a lot. Yeah.
Growing boys, they say, don't they? Mhm. Growing boys, they need a lot. Yeah, so much programming, isn't it?
Like Zion and hold
In
on.
Cairo. Yeah,
Cairo, Zion and Cairo.
great
Yeah, you
memory.
know it. You know it. Yeah.
Yeah, the programming is deep, so deep. Yeah, yeah. did you feel there was, or where was it, when was it that you had a shift in awareness, or in, oh my gosh, this, the way I'm eating, what is this? Or, just starting to question, and that first seed, do you remember?
The
Or were there
first,
several?
yeah, the first ones, because I've had many different shifts, and I'm sure
Yeah.
yourself as well, and anybody who's listening, it wasn't always like just one big thing. It was like a series.
Mm,
When we look back and we connect the dots, it was like, we were going from like enlightenment to enlightenment to enlightenment. There was a series of shifts that really was like a domino effect.
mm,
It's one got tipped and then the other one dipped. So for me, what the first shift with meditation, it got me into lightening up in a spiritual way. Like it wasn't just a physical way, it was an emotional way, it was a breathful way, it was a mindful way, and it was a spiritual way. I hadn't really tuned into spirituality.
mm.
And I didn't even know that's what I was tuning into in the beginning, but I just started, climbing trees and just meditating on my work break. Like at work, I was working as a telemarketer for a real estate brokerage, and I would be climbing trees and I'd be up there, like Mowgli in the Jungle Book. I'd be up there, and people be down there on their smoke break, and I'd just be up in the tree just breathing, just sitting there just in silence. And I mean, I heard a lot of conversations up there because people don't really look up. I don't know about in Australia, but out here, people are just kind of down, like just kind of as they're walking around, they're all looking down. So I was up there, so I got to see a lot. You, you'd be surprised what you hear when you listen, you know? when you just listen. So I started to do that. I started to meditate in the workplace. And I was one of those weird guys that was just sitting down in meditation while everybody was at their workstations. And on the lunch breaks, people would ask me, "Hey, are you vegetarian? Are you vegan? You're one of those, aren't you? Like,
One of
do you
those.
you're one of those people, huh?" Like, and I wasn't at this point, I wasn't, but I was lightening up naturally. It was just coming
Mm,
natural because I was being more, you know, I was coming more into myself. And so naturally things were getting less dense, things were getting lighter, and I just felt more in my body. I felt more sensitive.
mm,
And
mm,
when I was eating certain things, I felt really dense. So it felt heavy and overburdened. So I just naturally started to gravitate away. And it wasn't until I saw that documentary, Earthlings. And before I saw that, I saw the Game Changers. But Earthlings was the one there was no looking back after that. There was no looking back.
mm.
So that was a big shift. That was a huge shift in my life. But that came in my late 20s, like probably like, yeah, around 28, 29. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Earthlings.
Yeah.
My goodness.
That was the one for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That those documentaries are gut-wrenching and eye-opening and truth-bombing, and some, yeah. I struggle now to watch those.
Mm.
Um, but definitely I can see how that would shift someone completely in a different trajectory, especially when you had been enlightening. See, and you hadn't really changed your physical diet, let's say
Right.
the physical consumption.
Right.
However, as you increase that vibrational frequency
Mm.
of your vessel, things start shaking up.
Yeah.
Is that what you feel happened?
Yeah. I mean, it was natural, naturally, like, because there was a time where, you know, if I saw a spider, I wasn't thinking twice
Yeah.
about it. Now, today, if I'm in the grass out there and I come inside and a queen, like an ant is on me or a spider's on me, I take it back outside,
Yeah.
like I release it back into the grass where I think that it was there, and so that wasn't like it used to be. I didn't have that level of sensitivity for all beings, for
Mhm.
sentient beings. It wasn't, there was no priority for like the hierarchy, you know. It was like Dominion, you know, like that movie Dominion. I haven't seen that one. Like people have seen that one, but just the word kind of speaks for itself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just to think that this human species automatically is over or superior to another species, you know, just by default, you know?
Yeah.
So being raised in the awareness that it was okay to consume, you know, dead animal carcasses and just without a care in the world, you know, with all sorts of condiments that I was putting on, lathering it with seasonings without any reasoning and just all sorts of stuff. It was just never enough. And I identified with that, you know, strongly. I was on the wall of flame in these restaurant establishments where they would take a Polaroid camera and take your picture for eating 25 of the hottest wings. And I was eating things like devil's breath with jalapeno and habanero flakes and ghost pepper base. And I was like eating stuff that my coworkers at the time, they would take a dab and put it on their tongue and a tear would come down their eye. They would start crying, you know. That was my lunch. You know, they took a dab and they started crying. That was my lunch. So I know
Mm.
that my insides were screaming. I probably had stomach ulcers that I never knew about. I probably had digestive issues that I probably Nova.
Yeah.
I was probably
Yeah.
this close, you know? Before everything turned around, I had no idea how close I was for that hospital visit because I was in that direction. I was going there. That was where I was going.
Yeah.
So I can only think the pain, the emotional pain that I endured at a crucial juncture in my journey that allowed me to have a huge deviation and in a new vibration for sure. Yeah.
That's it. Oh, the spicy foods and the, you know, the amount of just mucus and gunk and buildup that, you know, that we don't even know is there, you know, and you've been talking about that as well. I'm sure you've seen the gunk come out, the mucus, the blacking, and all these things. Did you do any sort of like deep cleansing um,
Absolutely.
on like purposeful, you know, not just because, or did you slide into this, you know, liquid and breath lifestyle? Which I'm not sure. I would love to know what it is that you consume now
Mhm.
into the vessel
Right.
versus, you know, your journey leading up to it.
Right. So now it's just juice. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
juice, like fruit juice, green juice, coconut water I love. I don't drink too much water at all. I like coconut water, my own water, and juices. Yeah, that's mainly what it is. So, you know, it definitely was not always like that. It's been like that for the past 2 years. Well,
Wow.
going on 3 years now. But
Gone
before
on 3 years.
that,
Sorry, pause. 3 years on juices.
yeah,
Yes. Wow. Okay, sorry, continue. I just had to
yeah,
pause there. Yeah, for those
yeah,
that think that you can't, you know, survive.
right, right. And you know, one of the things that gave me confidence to know that I could definitely survive is one of my mentors. I have a lot of mentors, and a couple of them. So one of them is Raki Chari. She's on YouTube. You might know if you've seen her. Some people might know, but not everybody knows of her. Breatharian Yogini. If you type in Breatharian
I,
Yogini, that's Raki
okay.
Chari. That's one of my mentors, and she's taught me a lot. She's going on probably 7 years now of no solids. So she's on a liquid lifestyle for 6 years already.
Wow.
But even other than her, like Elitam Elamine, if anybody knows Elitam, he's definitely been a proponent, you know, for pranic living, breatharianism, just this awareness of living with less, living without, living on light,
Hmm.
you know. And he's been traveling the world teaching people this. But, you know, since I've known him, since 2020, when I did my first retreat with him, my first pranic retreat, I mean, since I've known him since then, all the retreats that we've done, Nova, I mean, we've done retreats at, you know, in California, we've done a few. In Arizona, we've done a few. Like everywhere that we've gone, I've never seen him eat, never seen him drink, and he's never had to go off to use the restroom. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, nothing's coming in and
Yep.
nothing's coming out. So when I witnessed that for like days on end, and I'm with him for hours on end, all day long, there's no way that he can get away. There's no way that he could just dip off and escape. Like, he's just laughing throughout the day, just walking throughout the day, just talking throughout the day, just breathing. So it just breaks, it really just shatters your reality, and it opens your mind to a mentality that, hey, maybe human beings aren't as limited as we think. You know, maybe the only limitation is our imagination.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what do you feel like you're capable of? Like, you know, if you say you can't, then I guess not. If you say you can, probably so, you know? And I love these quotes by people like, you know, Nelson Mandela said, it's only impossible until it's done. And, you know, Helen Keller, you know, Helen Keller was, you know, she was seeing and hearing impaired. She was blind and deaf. She said, while they were saying amongst themselves, it cannot be done, it was done. And that was powerful me. Like, when I read her book, The Story of My Life, it was powerful. It was so powerful, you know, just to witness what someone back in that time overcame. Just all of those, what we would call handicaps, you know. She had
Yeah.
a whole different perspective, a whole different perspective within the collective at that time. So I feel like we're just coming into our new evolutions. That's why this is like a revolution,
This,
you know. People, we're just coming into our own understanding of, you know, what we have, what we really, and who we are. Like, just
mm,
remembering. Yeah.
yeah. Who am I?
Yeah.
We asked last time. Who am I?
Yeah. Exactly.
And and you know that's it. The mind and your belief and your programs, which is, you know, your belief
Mhm.
on anything, is what's going to create that reality, as we know. So because we are the creators, so yeah. 7 years, a lifetime, no liquid. That's all out there. I know.
Yeah.
I've seen some master beings
Mhm.
that are on no food and no liquid,
Right.
nothing at all,
Right.
and and they're not some, you know, master breathwork practitioner or anything. They're just people in tribes.
Just people.
I have
Yeah.
seen. So I can't recall her name or where she was, but if I find it, I'll send it to you. I'm sure you know
Okay.
this particular lady. But yes, and
Mhm.
she had a baby as well. So
Oh, you're talking
I
about Camilla? Akai
think so. I think
Camilla.
that's her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'll have to
Yeah.
double check
Akai
it.
and Camilla, she was they say she was, yeah, they said she had like they called it like a breatharian pregnancy or something. She was fasted while she was pregnant. Are you
Yeah,
talking
and
about?
still is, and still is now. I don't know if it's the same lady, but we'll confirm that.
Okay, yeah, definitely send that to me. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. I think she said that she didn't breastfeed, so I'm unsure about that. What are your thoughts on that, actually?
That's not my territory.
Ah,
You know, I don't know. I really don't know. I have no thoughts on that matter, you know, but I feel like, I mean, it's incredible. It's just incredible what we are able to, what we're able to do when the mind gets out of the way, you know, when we get out of the head space and into the heart space, you know, there are no limits. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. It shifts everything, doesn't it? And what was it like leading into what you know, the way that you're consuming now for the last almost 3 years, which, you know, is incredible. How much, if you don't mind sharing, how much juice or coconut water or so on do you actually take in per day?
I'd say less than 2 liters.
Yeah.
So I walk for some miles to the grocery store every day. So I get it every day. I get what I need and come back. So I walk, I get, you know, like today I got celery, I got parsley, some apples and ginger, and I have a masticating juicer right over there with some mason jars. So I'll just juice it up, throw it in the mason jars, throw them in here, and then I'm good for the day. Yeah.
Perfect. It's simple.
Yeah.
And when was the last time, I guess that was 3 years ago, what was it that you were consuming before that, before you went straight into, no fiber and just juices?
Yeah. Yeah. So the last thing I probably had was probably a salad, because this was around the time I was still consuming vegan at this time. But when I did, that was in 2022, May of 2022. That was my last solid meal. So that was probably a
Wow.
salad. Salad was probably the thing, because I was eating big salads. I was eating salads with like, tomatoes, kale, dressings, like just vegan stuff. But it was a lot of stuff. There was avocado, of course. I was using that, and then I was just putting a lot of stuff there. But it got to the point where even that was too much, and I knew that I could keep going. I had already felt what it felt like to be just on nothing, so I knew that awareness was already there. And it's, to a degree, once it's like you can't go
Yeah.
back. Once now, like you felt it. Like when I watched that documentary, I couldn't unsee the images I saw. It was like stamped, it was like etched, it was embedded in my mind, and I
Mhm.
couldn't I couldn't take it out, you know? And it was very conflicting for my inner child that had grown up eating and consuming all of these things with my family, with my friends, with everyone, with my loved ones. And so I was like, what have I done? What have I been doing? What have I been chewing all these years? And it was a shock. It was a shock to my nervous system, and just the innocence, just I had no idea what had happened. Like, where did it go wrong? So
Mm.
just like that, along those lines, when I did my first liquid feast, this was with the monks and nuns from Myanmar that welcomed me into their monastery.
Oh, wow.
So they let me stay in their property. This was back in 2019. And, they were kind of used to fasting. They didn't eat after noon just based on their principles. So I was just going liquid before noon, and then I would be dry the rest of the day. And they asked me, how long are you going to do this? And I said, just 1 month. I said, only 1 month. Because I had already known people that were doing it for years. So I was like, just 1 month. They said, that's too long. They said, that's too long.
Oh,
But it's interesting because Sayadaw, their chief monk at the Barwa, for those who don't know, they can look it up. It's in Baldwin Park, California. I think it's still there. The Barwa Mindfulness and Detachment Center. That's where I stayed.
wow.
It's called the Barwa, and they're from Burma. They're from
Yeah.
Myanmar, so they all spoke Burmese. I was one of the only English speakers there, and this was after I separated with my ex-wife. This was after that big emotional pain. So I didn't know what anything was. I was just trying to find something, but I knew that something had to change. I knew that this wasn't it. I was so dissatisfied and really disgusted with the lack of discipline, the lack of structure, the lack of direction that I had in my life up until that point, just kind of wandering through life and just waiting for things to change. Nothing was changing. Nothing was rearranging. Things were just going in a downward spiral.
Mm.
So it took that to really shake me up and wake me up. And once I went over there, watching them move and maneuver throughout this matrix, just watching the meditation, like just being in their vibration, being in that
Mm.
congregation, it was so healing for me because there was no judgment. They had no judgment. They were taking people off the street, Nova. It's drug addicts, people that were strung out, people that had gone through so many things in life. They were just bringing them in. Come in, learn how to meditate. Just come in. You can stay here. So I was in California, in the heart of Los Angeles, staying at a meditation center, at a monastery, free of charge,
Wow.
free. And
Yeah.
and this is around people in houses where they're paying a lot of money just to stay in California. They're paying money. It's not funny. They're paying money,
Yeah.
right? So, like, I can only say that the universe orchestrated itself in such a way that I got the opportunity to be in such a healthy and just such a loving environment to cultivate myself like a plant and just really nurture myself and water myself and just grow myself and show myself that life could be different, you know? So when they had me up in their property, that was the first time I did 1 month, just 1 month Nova. That's it. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
1 month, solid food vacation, only liquid. The first 2 weeks were the most challenging. I was
Yeah.
feeling a lot of fatigue, a lot of detox, a lot of lethargy, a lot of drainage on my energy.
Oh no.
There
I lost you
was
for a
still,
second there. Sorry,
oh,
you were feeling?
are we back? We back?
Yes, we're back, hopefully.
So yeah, I was saying the first 2 weeks were the most challenging. I was feeling a lot of fatigue, a lot of drain, a lot of just, lethargy, just a lot of pull on my energy as I was detoxing those first 2 weeks. And that was the most challenging for me because stuff was just coming out of my body.
Yeah.
Getting flushed, toxins, all sorts of stuff was just coming out. And solid matter was still coming out, even though solid matter wasn't going in after the first 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
that showed me our capacity for storage. It just, we have no idea how much the body can hold on to, not just, physically. Of course, we can hold on to a lot, but we hold on to a lot mentally, a lot emotionally. We just hold on to that energy.
Mhm.
So my body had been holding on to so much energy stored up in my guts, just blocking up the guidance for a long time. And when that started to release, whoo, whoo, my goodness, the amount of energy, the amount of clarity, the amount of enthusiasm, the amount
Mm.
of vibrancy, the less brain fog, the just purposefulness, the meaningfulness, the fulfillment, the freedom of knowing not only what you're here for, what you're here to do, but also having the energy to do it.
Mm.
That was like, it was so profound. I tell people, I honestly did not want to go back to eating. I didn't want to go back. I was like, I was afraid to go back to solid food because of how good I was feeling. I was like, I've never felt like this in my life. Why? Why? You know?
I don't want
So yeah,
I
that
don't want
was that
that.
was my first big shift. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that journey and that story. What a beautiful place filled with beautiful beings. Like just in the heart of LA.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah. You wouldn't
well,
you wouldn't think it. Yeah.
that's the first I've heard of it. So thank you for that. And wow, just 1 month. Did you then actually go back to?
I kept going. I
Oh,
kept
you
going.
kept going.
So
Okay, I
so during
wondered.
that time, that 1 month was so good. I did another 2 months. So I did 3 months that year. That was in 2019. So I did 3 months, no solids. And then I did go back and then went in and out before my first pranic retreat the following year in 2020 in January of that year. And that's when everything changed.
Mm,
That's when it just, like, if I was over here, it went over there. That's when everything changed forever. Forever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you did 3 months from being in there for 1 month. You went 3 months, and then you went back into solid foods. I've got a question there on what do you mean, Jerome, by solid foods? Is that meat?
No, 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 not at that point. Not at that point. So I'd already gone past flesh
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah.
So, because I mean, I needed to even attempt what I was doing. I mean, jumping from solids straight into liquids. So I was like, I wasn't all the way vegan. I wasn't raw vegan. I was like more vegetarian.
Yeah.
But I went from vegetarian, and I needed such a desperate change. I was so desperate for change. I went over vegan, over raw vegan, over fruitarian, and just straight into liquid. I just like straight in there. I just dived into the deep end. It was like, here we go. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And man, I mean, yeah, my whole world changed. So that was the beginning, but there was more. There was more that came after. Yeah.
Ooh, would you like to share?
Of course. So what I mean, there was more. So when I did the retreat in the following year, that was when I met Ellie Tom in the physical. So this is how manifestation works. I was looking, while I'm doing this liquid journey in 2019, I'm watching YouTubes of these people called breatharians, because that was the first time I even heard of the word when I was back when I was 28. For 28 years of my life, I didn't know there were people. I didn't know pranic people. I didn't know there were people like this, living without solid food. That was not on my radar. And then I heard about their chief monk, Sayadaw, their chief monk, who I actually put him in one of my recent books I just published. I got inspired. I put a lot of the encounters that I had in the recent book I just published. Sayadaw, he was already on 2 years of liquids. So he had already done 2 years. This was back in 2019. I said, what? I said, he hasn't eaten solids? They said, yeah, everything he eats is liquefied. It's just everything he consumes is liquid. And here's the thing, Nova. Here's the interesting thing about him. He was very slender. So, he wasn't really big.
Mm-hmm.
But his energy, no one could outpace him when it came to, like, he was walking everywhere like Jesus. He was walking and teaching meditation, walking and having a conversation, walking and teaching a congregation, walking, right? And no one could, like, he was like Gandhi, just walking miles and miles and miles, and nobody ever saw him lie down. His sleep was meditation. So he's only consuming liquids, right, for 2 years at that point. And the legend has it, no one saw him lie down.
Wow.
He wasn't ever seen in the prone position. His sleep was meditation. He was upright. His spine was erect. His spine, he was channeling that energy at all hours of the day. So even at night, while everybody else was like this, he was like this, And I didn't know that was possible. I didn't even know that was possible. So they said, hey, Jerome, I see you're fasting. Do you know that there's people who they don't eat? I said, what? They said, yeah, there's people who don't eat or drink. I said, what? Right?
Next step.
I was like, what are you talking about, right? But it was like something in my mind was ready. When you get to a point in your life, it's like the program is ready to be downloaded. It's ready. The file is there, but now you had to clear the cache. You had to defrag the computer. You had to defrag the PC, clear the cache, deprogram to reprogram. Now the file is able, to come in. It's like, but before that, it's like trying to stick a floppy disk into a CD-ROM. It's not going in there, right?
It's not working.
Right? It's not going in there. It's not happening. But this time it was ready. I was ready. My software had updated. I had upgraded. I was ready for the new program. So when they said, Jerome, there's people, right? Like, there's people out there, right, that they don't consume. They just live. They just breathe. I said, you're joking. You're kidding me. I said, I gotta find out. So that's when I started looking up, these pranic people, these breatharians and liquidarians on YouTube. And then within months, I was meeting him face to face. So when I was at his retreat in Sherman Oaks, California, all we did every day for like 9 days, it was like 8 or 9 of us with each other, all in sleeping bags, sandwiched into this one room. And we were just kind of like Tetris with our bodies. We would sleep next to each other, just kind of in our sleeping bags in there. And we were on this lady's property. It was called the Sound Palace Temple in Sherman Oaks, California, with Athena Starseed. And Ellie Tom was there with her. So she was the host of the house, and then he was the teacher. And every day, Nova, we got up, we worked with the energy, we did Qigong every day. We would walk, we would exercise, we would walk long every day. We would have a breatharian talk, we would have a conversation, and then in the evenings, we would do a meditation. And this was every day. We were doing the Merkaba meditation, the microcosmic orbit meditation, and he was teaching us methods of Qigong. And we're with him every day, just watching him, and just observing his detachment from a lot of reality. And this was in 2020. So you had the COVID mentality. You had the COVID, right? You had the
Oh,
pandemic
yeah.
was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just right, you know, a couple miles down the street, people are wearing the mask, they're buying toilet paper, they're clearing the shelves, right? And we're
Yeah.
in like a whole different ecosystem. We're in a different
Yeah.
reality apart from the generality. So I was one of the people in that retreat going dry. I had gone dry for 5 days going in. We stayed there for 9 days, and then I came out dry. So I went in dry and came out dry. That was when everything took off. So at about
Okay.
2 weeks, 2 weeks with no solids, no liquids, I was somewhere else.
Mm.
Reality got very trippy. This world was psychedelic. At that point, it was psychedelic. I was on psychedelic. I was high on my own supply.
Yeah.
My skin started opening up. The pores on my skin was drinking the atmosphere. I was drinking the air. This was the first time in my life I was sensitive enough to feel there's moisture in the air. Like
Mm.
we live in water. We're like fish that don't know we're in water. We
Mm.
live in water. There's no shortage of
Love
water.
that.
We live in it.
Yeah.
So I could like put my hand through the air and I could feel the moisture in the air. It was like superhuman. Felt like an X-Men, like one of them superheroes. I was like, what is going on? And I used to be, when I was, you know, congested and sleep apnea and before my consumption before, I had all kinds of sinus problems. I had all kinds of mucus problems. I had all kinds of congestion and constipation. So I couldn't smell anything right in front of me. I had to get like right up next to the meal to smell it. Or if somebody
Mm.
flatulated in the room, I couldn't smell it, you know?
Oh, blessed
So,
in some areas.
you know, but when I started fasting, I smelled everything.
Mm.
I smelled everything.
Mm.
Felt like an animal, felt like a dog, smelling everything.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Prophetess Nabiha says, hi, beautiful sister. Says, when you're on nothing, you start to see everything.
She knows. She knows. If
Yes.
anybody knows, she knows. Yeah.
Love. Wow. 2 weeks dry. And yeah, and what you say there about, you know, the pause, the sensitivity. I mean, it's all levels, right? It's all levels, and we've experienced it looking back from eating, you know, really, really dense dead foods and carcasses and, you know, animal parts and all this stuff and breads and pastas and right, how clogged up on every level, physically, mentally, and emotionally, we can feel how dense, how like non-sensitive to smells, to taste, like everything is numbed out. I mean, I think you even said, you know, your allowance for chili was insane.
It was
Right?
insane. It was
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
Do you do you think you could have that amount of chili now without?
What? No.
Right. That's right.
No, that's good. So my chili now is ginger.
Ah,
Okay, that's my chili. That's my chili now. You know, I'll take that chili. I'll take that chili now. You know, but no, if I tried to consume the way that I did before, you know, I don't want to say it, but it'd be scary. I'll say that. It'd be scary. You know, I don't want to say lethal. I don't want to put that in the air, but it'd
no.
be it'd be very scary because there were times when I did try to go back after I had been on liquids for a long time. I did try to dip back into the solid wavelength, and it was like I couldn't go back. It was like I'd already crossed some threshold, like my body had already reweaved and
Mm,
compensated for the lack of this, traded it for the abundance of something else. You know, it said, okay, we're not getting our energy from this anymore, so I guess we got to get it from somewhere. So it
mhm.
like reconfigured the
That's
settings
it.
to start getting it from elsewhere. You know, because
Mhm,
I'm here. You know, I'm in the sun. I'm doing Qigong. I'm raising my hands to the sunlight. You know, I'm sun gazing. I'm intaking the light. You know, so my body just learned that, okay, we're just gonna convert this energy.
mhm,
You know, we were used to all the fossil fuels. We were used to the dead animals, but now we're used to something else. So it when I tried to go back to dense matter, you know, solid food, it, it felt very painful. I'll say that. It felt
mm.
very painful. It felt like I could not go back. Like I'd already
Yeah.
made my decision. Like, hey, you're either gonna go this. My body was confused. My
Hmm.
body was asking me. It was like, what are you doing? You know, we're past that. We're done. You know, we're going here now. So to ask me what you just asked me, if I would be able to consume the same things, definitely not. I don't
No.
know. You know, there's people in this. You know, there's people who I guess, you know, they have another level. That's a whole nother level of
Perhaps.
you know, where they feel like, you know what, you can eat whatever you want, have whatever you want. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
We're either not there yet or that's past. I like what you
Yeah.
said, Brian.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And uh, that what you just shared, thank you so much for sharing that. That's a truth that not many can understand or have not understood when they've experienced it,
Mhm.
if you know what I mean. To move into the finer
Right.
vibrations of consuming of energy, right? From the real dense to, raw foods of every kind to very simple raw foods
Mhm.
like fruits and salad, which is how I consume now.
Mhm.
I'd love to, to share on that because I've felt exactly what you've just spoken about. And
Mhm.
I share this with all of my clients and all of the people that, I speak to that are on this path. The whole, once you clear your vessel enough and it starts to shift,
Mhm.
and it shifts, it's a continuous shift, right? Your shift is up here. You've shifted further than I've shifted, for sure. And to then try and move backwards, your vibration, the way I explain it usually is, your baseline vibrational frequency on that molecular cellular level is higher
Right.
now. And that dense food, there's different ones, right? But that dense food that you used to eat when you had a body down here,
Mhm.
that drop was lower, right?
Mhm.
You're used to that. And yeah, you were living in density of different, levels. But as you clean it and clean it and clean it, and you just, you're in the hot, in the finer vibrations, meaning you're more sensitive and you're clearer and you're an open channel, then your drop when you start consuming those dense foods is like, it's like crash and burn.
Yeah.
It can be crash and burn. Your Yeah, and I loved how you said it because your body is shifting to different energy sources
Mhm.
and to then bring in foods. And I'm not sure, would you like to share what it is that you actually tried to go back into?
Yeah. So it was just, there was one time I got off a flight and I was just trying to eat like, you know, like a regular salad and I think it was like a Subway sandwich, you know, just like one of those veggie lover Subway sandwiches. And something, you know, it was like there was some form of bread and there was like some greens. I remember it was a salad and some form of bread. And I felt like there was a rock lodged in my chest, like in my solar plexus. It was just lodged there and it was stuck. And I was looking around like, you know, I was like looking at people around me like, is this it? You know, is this how it happens? You know, here in front of these men, women, and children, like right here, is this it? You know? And I was wondering like is somebody gonna be able to call the emergency room like fast enough like to get me somewhere? Because I was panicking. I was panicking. So I mean, when that happened a few times, yeah, I was done. I was like, okay, I don't need to go back. I was like, I don't need to go back. I have no desire.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, hey, when will you eat solids again? You know, I tell them, I'll never say never. You know, like I'll never eat solids again. I'll never say that. But I feel good right now. You know, like I don't really have a big desire to go back at this point. There's really, I don't see a downside for the way that I live now at the moment.
Yeah.
That may change in the future. Who knows? You know, who knows? But at the moment, I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Ain't that the way? Ain't that the reason? right? Like, just seriously.
Yeah.
How do you feel in your body, in your life?
Right.
That's
Right.
that's the key, right? Oh, like just that feeling of like a rock sitting in there. How did it like? How long did it last for you? Because obviously, what happened there?
It
When
felt like
when
my world was getting darker. It felt the only other time I remember feeling like my world was getting darker was when I was boxing. I was in this boxing match in Golden Gloves. I was facing this opponent, and he was just boom, just whipping like long shots at me, and it was hitting my head, and it was just like my world was getting darker and darker. And his coach was yelling at him in the ring like, "Finish him, finish him. We ain't got time. We ain't got time. Get him out of here." You know, it was like, finish him. I remember this. And that was the time when it felt like my world was closing in. Like, have you ever seen Looney Tunes?
yeah,
You ever
yeah,
seen the?
dark.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what it felt like. It felt like my reality was darkening and closing in. Like we're in it, that's all, folks. You know, it was just closing. You know, I was like, oh my God, is this it? So I don't know how long that state lasted, but finally, like I, I just stopped. I didn't keep eating. I just stopped right there to let whatever it was like pass through, but it just felt like it was stuck. Felt
Yeah.
like it got stuck. It felt like my body had forgotten how to digest this.
Mm,
Like it felt like
mm,
my body had forgotten how to process, like
mm.
how to take this from A to Z, like from take this from the beginning to the end. It felt like it was like, that wasn't necessary for all this time. Why is it necessary now?
Yeah.
You know, why are we doing this now? We weren't doing this for the past, you know, why are we doing it now?
How long?
So,
How long were you into the fast?
I mean, so at that point, it was no longer fast. Like what I do today, I don't call it fasting,
No,
you
of
know?
course not. It's
It was no
living.
longer fasting. So it was more like pranic living. This was a lifestyle. This was my lifestyle. This was my
Yeah,
life. So I no longer kind of identified with like I'm fasting because it kind of has a connotation
it
of
does.
deprivation. There's a
Mm.
deprivation connotation when you think of the fasting, when you think of like, oh, I need to deprive myself of this for now to eventually go back once I cleanse,
Mm.
or to eventually
Mm.
go back once I detox. This is
Yeah,
not that. This is different. This is
yeah,
like indefinite. This is your life now, you
yeah,
know? So you're indefinitely going into liquids and going to lighter forms, and you're there's no end date, there's no deadline. There's no like I'm gonna break the
yeah.
fast. There's no breakfast, right?
No, no, no
Yeah,
break
you
fast.
know? Yeah, the breakfast is not on the checklist.
No.
You know, you don't have to be reckless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, at that point, I don't know exactly how long, but it had been some months without solid food up until that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've gone to, it has not been an upward trajectory. It's been in and out, back and forth, up and down, you know. But at least in these past 2 years, yeah, this May will be 3 years. We've been on this journey for sure.
Mm. And it is a journey, as you said, and
Yeah.
and there you have it. It's never about perfection either, but those experiences are sometimes needed,
Yeah.
clearly, because we do get on any level that we're working through, and this is for everyone, when you're trying to shift and change or detox or, fast and start cleansing and start clicking, right? Because sometimes you have to, that something has to shift in order to then click and continue or desire to continue, right? Because you might be on this side eating whatever you're eating now and going, oh, why would I ever want to do that?
Mm.
Right? Why would I ever want to do that?
Mhm.
Like, I feel great, or maybe I'll just, I'll go just and cut this stuff out,
Right.
and oh, that's,
Mhm.
and it's all okay, right?
Yeah.
It's everyone is living their own life and their experience and at their pace. and
Yeah.
it's not a competition and it's not a race. It's just it's about giving it a go if you feel the resonance, or if something is, you know, is calling you, or if you feel horrible in your body or in your mind, you know, and you're quote unquote sick or with chronic symptoms or a disease diagnosis or whatever it is, right? Or your life is just not happy. Then you really want to try and shift something and shift something so that then the energy starts to move. You know, that's energy in motion. That's just, there's a fluidity happening. And then from there, you know, things open up. And as Jerome, you know, you were just sharing, it's like each level is like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
there's more?
Yeah, there's more.
There's more to this?
There's
Like,
more.
what?
Always, always. There's always more. Yeah. Yeah.
Infinite. Oh, I'd love to know a little bit about, because you're an amazing author. I've seen and heard. I can't wait to get a hold of your books. Actually, I just had a look earlier. Um, give us a little bit about what it is you've been writing about, and yeah, and which ones you've got available, and yeah, what are they about? Tell us.
Awesome. Yeah. So, you know, we're at 17 now. So we're at 17 now. We're still going, still writing, still publishing. Yeah. So I wrote my first book, I think, back in 20, maybe 20, yeah, 2019, I think. Yeah, because that was during that, yep, that was during that time that I was with the monks and nuns. And I was sun gazing. So my first book was called Sun Gaze for Success,
Oh
because I
wow.
was feeling all the energy just gazing at the sun. That was my very first book, Sun Gaze for Success. Then Finding Inner Peace. Then, you know, then came Hunger for Freedom. Then, you know, Breatharian Beginnings, Pranic Living Unveiled. You know, these food freedom books talking about just food freedom lifestyle, you know, the final frontier, you know, food freedom. And now 48 Laws of Prana, that's one. So those are all in the nonfiction book realm.
Yeah.
Now we're on this journey, which is the fictional book realm, which is, oh man, I'm having so much fun, Nova.
Ah,
I'm just having fun. I'm having fun, you know? I mean, I enjoy writing nonfiction, but I really enjoy writing fiction, because if I had not read certain books in my life, like fictional novels that came from somebody's mind, that was just conjured from somebody's imagination, you know, Harry Potter and,
mm,
you know, Lemony Snicket, you know, the series of unfortunate events, and like all of these fictional universes that just took me away in a different way than video games. Because, you know, video games could take me away, but I was like just doing this all day. A book could just, it just fueled my imagination. It fueled my mind in ways that just tapped into the divine, you know, like I was able to just find so many things and align with so many characters that had so many trials and overcame so much adversity and just went over so many obstacles and opposition in their life. And I was able to empathize with that character, and I was able to really just tune in and really see like, wow, and identify with these aspects, and you know, find parallels and circumstances in my life where I could apply these lessons that I took from these fictional universes, these fictional characters that just exist in my mind now. Now they're just in my mind like a playground. So I wanted to
mm.
give people that same feeling that I got, you know, when I was reading those stories. I wanted to give that feeling to other people as well. So that's definitely my passion right now, is writing fiction. And yeah, we're already on like multiple series at the moment. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's where can they find your books?
They're all on Amazon. All of them. You just type in my name, Jerome Shaw, and it'll pull up the whole catalog there. Yeah, all of my books. Yeah.
Amazing. Wow, fiction and nonfiction.
Mhm.
But even with the nonfiction, there's so much truth,
Oh
as
yeah.
you said. So much depth, and so yeah, yeah, amazing. Oh, what And what else are you adventuring at the moment? Is there anything else that you are offering that you'd like to share? Let us know.
Yeah. Other than the, publishing these books, getting these works in people's hands, getting these books in people's hands around the world, I'm enjoying the podcasting journey. We started that in 2018. I'm enjoying just the content creation, just getting just getting more creative,
Mm.
really tapping into creativity because what else are we gonna do? Right? That was one of the things that Ellie Tom told me back in the day. He's like, Jerome, what else are we gonna do? What else? But we're gonna like we gotta shine the light. We
Mhm.
gotta inspire. We gotta empower. We gotta uplift. We gotta encourage. We gotta enlighten. What else are we gonna do? What else?
What
Right?
else?
He's like, you already got all of this energy. You're not eating, right? You're hardly sleeping. You got all this abundance. Your cup runneth over. What else are
Yeah.
you gonna do? Put another cup under there.
Yeah.
Slide that thing, slide
Get
that thing
more.
under there. Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're just putting other cups underneath your cup. You've already filled it all the way up. So
Mm-hmm.
just let it pour from the overflow. And that's, pretty much everything that you see me doing is just the overflow. I do pour into myself. I do take care of my health, but I learned how to do it as well as helping someone else. Every day we doing Qigong. So at the same time, every day we've been doing Qigong for the past, yeah, like almost 3 years, once again.
Wow.
So every day we do Qigong, same time. If you can't make the Qigong, you can get the replays. They're on our Patreon website, patreon.com/Pranic Path. Whoever wants to learn more about this lifestyle, this way of living, the energy, the way that it's giving, you can check that out. And there's just a whole pranic library there with not just my books, but tons of other books that have helped me along my journey. Tons of audios, videos, and just tons of material for you to really get lost in on patreon.com. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you, Jerome. Get found in. That's where you get found. Where you find yourself. We won't get lost on your page, that's for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Wow. And yes, the Qigong, I've been seeing your stories, and obviously the time zone is off, but it's great to know that you've got all that content on your page because yeah, that's just so much giving, so much overflowing. You are just a beacon of light and such a pleasure to chat to, such a pleasure to listen to.
Thank you.
And yeah, I appreciate you. I wanted to see if anyone had any questions
Absolutely.
as well.
Yeah.
I've got one pinned here.
Mm-hmm.
Travis, I notice fruit juices give me an energy boost, but then it goes down quickly, like 5 minutes later.
Juices give me an energy boost, then it goes down quickly 5 minutes later. Yeah. So, it's interesting.
Mm.
I can't drink caffeine anymore because I've gotten now to a level of sensitivity. Back when I was eating all that stuff I was telling you about, I was heavily Nova, Nova, Nova. I was pounding. So, I told you what I was consuming, everything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was pounding Red Bulls, Monsters,
Mm.
like Monsters
Oh,
and Red Bulls, and just all this like taurine and all those chemicals. You don't
yeah,
even know
yeah.
what that is. Like, what is it? What is that even? You
Well,
don't even
I
know
don't
what
know.
that is. You're just drinking,
Uh,
right? Just
yeah.
drinking, just more, 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 right? And I was working jobs that were just sucking, like siphoning the soul,
Mm.
like just out of my body, just draining, just squeezing my spirit, right? And to get through these jobs, I was doing like I was, somebody said if you want to break a caffeine habit, eat a Fuji apple. So I would start with a Fuji apple. I'd have a couple Gatorades, then I've had a Red Bull, then I would have a Monster. And if that didn't carry me over, because I was working the graveyard shift
Oh, graveyards.
from
Oof.
10 at night till 10 in the morning. So 10 to 10, 10 at night till 10. And I would have half of an Adderall, probably at maybe like 6 or 7 in the morning, and that would carry me till 10 a.m. and Adderall.
Oh
And this
my
wasn't even my own
gosh.
prescription. This was a prescription from somebody, a
Oh,
girl in college. I was getting it from her. Now, this is on top of the Red Bull. This is on top of the Monster and Adderall. So I was like, I thought I could do calculus. I thought I could do like, I was on top of the world. This was like cocaine for me. This was like, I know it. I understand. I get it. I get it. You know, I was so jacked. My adrenal glands were so shot. I didn't know what energy was. I thought that was energy. That's not energy. That is
no.
not energy. I thought I was energetic. That is not energetic. That is, you are just slowly deteriorating bit by bit, piece by piece. You are being broken down systematically. You are being stripped of your life force.
Mm.
My
Yeah,
cat just you see Neo? You know Neo?
that's right.
My cat,
That's right.
he just chimed in. He just chimed
Oh,
in real quick.
what a sweetie. What's his name?
Neo is his name.
Nino.
Neo,
Oh,
yeah.
what a name.
He had to chime in real quick. He said, I know.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's it.
you are being stripped. You are being taken. You're being kicked out of here. You know, you are being evicted slowly
Mm.
but surely. The pink slip is coming. The notice is coming, and you got to pay dues. You have to pay rent, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
swiping a credit card, beep, 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 on your body.
Yeah.
One day you gotta pay it back someday.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that day came for me. I had to pay all of it back. All of it. Nobody gets away. Like one of
Mm.
my friends said, he said the poison came in and it has to come out.
That's
Right?
right.
It has
Yeah.
to come out. So I definitely, paid the price for all of that. Like I said, my adrenal glands were shot. They were jacked. And what I didn't understand, what I didn't realize was it wasn't actually giving me energy at all. It was like
Mm.
hijacking adenosine receptors in the brain that signal to the body, hey, you're tired, you need to go lay down. Whatever those receptors are, those adenosine receptors, it was just like, no, you're not tired.
Yeah.
You're not tired, right? No, you're not. Like the
Yeah.
body's like, yes, I am. And it's like, no, you're not,
Yeah.
right?
No.
That's all it was doing. That's all it was doing. So all those days, like staying in line at Starbucks for my, whatever I was getting, the chai latte and all this stuff. When I went back and I got a chai latte after all that fasting, just a chai,
Yeah.
not even a dirty chai,
Oh,
right?
it wasn't
Just
even
just a
dirty.
regular
Yeah, it
chai,
was a clean one.
right?
Yeah.
Just a regular chai. I thought I had poisoned myself. I thought, what just happened? What just happened?
Yeah.
That never used to happen. It's it slapped me in my face and said, Jerome, wake up. And I was like, I was like, did I just poison myself
Mm.
intentionally? So when we're talking about energy, just to answer that question, because they were talking about like, when I drink juice, I feel a spike in
Yeah.
energy, and then I'm like this, right? Here's
Mm.
my theory. It's a working theory, but here's my theory. We are energy. Like we are energy. When I went so long without food and drink, when I went so long without anything, I broke everything down to energy. And I realized like I'm a walking, talking, breathing ball of energy. Like I am the energy that is inhabiting this vessel. And if I don't block the energy,
Yes.
I can't stop the energy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had so much energy I couldn't sleep. I was like, when am I gonna I should be asleep. Why am I not sleeping? So it was like there was no blockages. So even more like now I drink juice and I'm still sleeping like maybe, 4 to 6 on the juice that I
Yeah.
drink. But when I had nothing at all, there was
No.
almost no sleep. There was an abundance. There was an abundance. So my theory is energy, if it's not blocked, then there's no shortage.
Mm.
There's such a thing as rest, but you don't need as much sleep as you think you do, right?
Yeah.
So it's just understanding that the body is already capable, but when we put something in it, now it has to compensate for what we have ingested.
Mm-hmm.
And now it needs to be rested because we've ingested, you
Yeah.
know? So it doesn't really matter what it is, honestly. I had to understand that, okay, the apple's not really giving me life. But then another level on top of that was like, wait a minute, the apple juice isn't giving me life. You know, I felt more alive because of the
That's
contrast. It was the
right.
contrast. Because everything I ate before was dense. It was dead bodies, right?
Mm,
So of course, when I'm drinking the juice, I feel way more alive, right? But you can feel way more alive on nothing at all. You know,
mm,
it's just being attuned to that frequency. It's very uncomfortable to be attuned to that frequency when you're used to being sedated and anesthetized, you know, all your life. You're used to being comatose and you're used to being down for many years at a time. To be in the high frequencies, it's uncomfortable. So it's almost like be careful what you wish for, because if you have all this energy that we're asking for,
yeah.
all this energy, when the energy comes, be careful, be careful what you wish for, because when you get it, you may wish you hadn't got it. Like you may say, this is too much. This is too much. I need to go back to eat because I need to go back to sleep. Right? That's what we start doing. We put ourselves back to sleep because it's too much. Everybody else is asleep. You're the only one awake. And then now you have to be faced with yourself.
Mm,
And they don't want to be lonely. You don't want to be lonely. You don't want to be the only person who's up all night long, all night. Nobody else
yeah.
is up. You're just up. What do I do now? I guess I gotta get creative, right? Right? So that's why we tell people like, hey, you know, this breatharian thing, this pranic thing, like, careful what you wish for, because you know it takes some getting used to. It really takes a level of adjustment for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. You know, that contrast
Yeah.
again, it's a shock to the mind, to the, you know, to the ego, to the habits, to the everything. So yeah, it's a journey and it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful journey. I love your experiences.
I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, you can get I mean, some people have the reasons, like, they're like, oh, there's all this stuff I can get done. Oh, all the money I can save.
Yeah.
Oh, all the things that I don't have to do these dishes. I don't have to do. I feel like if you're really called to this, it's got to be something higher.
Oh
You
yeah.
got to have something, it's got to be something higher than that, you know? To really keep you on the path, it can't just be like, oh, saving on groceries and saving on bills and, you know, I get to do all sorts of extracurricular
Yeah.
activities. And it
Yeah.
has to be higher.
Yeah.
You got to go
Much higher.
deeper. You got to
Big
go
picture.
deeper. Yeah,
Yeah. Big picture.
yeah.
That's it.
That's just
Wow.
my advice. Yeah.
Oh, I love it, Jerome. Thank you.
Was there
Well, I
any
appreciate
other?
you.
Did anybody else have? I don't know if I seen another
Have,
question.
let's let me see. There was a couple, I
Oh,
think.
is there a place retreat where you can justice for 2 weeks? Well, you
I'm
can do
guessing
your own
Zeus.
juice. You can
Or,
do your own like vipassana, your own retreat wherever you are. But if you can find a place where people are getting together, you know, like in Italy, every year in Italy, Nicholas Pilart's and Raffaella, I attended the Pranic World Festival. They do it every year in Italy. I think August 1st to August 13th every year. So I've
mm,
spoken at that festival, you know, going on like 4 years in a row, but I was there in presence as well. And it's amazing. If you can get there, it's
wow.
amazing. Just to be around other people who are living this life, it's awesome. But most of the time, I see a lot of online retreats. So Ellie
Mm,
Tom, he does tons of online retreats. Ray Mayor, he does a lot of online retreats. You know, Christiana El Trayan, like all these different pranic people around the world that actually are vocal, that speak about it. Because I think I feel that way more people live like this than are actually talking about it. I don't think that
yes.
like there's so many people that are not as outspoken. You know, they
Mm,
don't want to be they don't want to be in the limelight. They don't want to be in the public, you know? And that's perfectly fine because they have nothing to prove. They have nothing to lose. They're content with just like, hey, this is just how I live. I don't eat, I don't drink, whatever. But they don't need to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I feel like there's way more of those people than the people that we actually know who are in the spotlight. So it's growing, you know, but we're flowing.
Yeah, we're flowing. And do you feel that it's I feel it's a return to, it's a remembrance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not that we're going somewhere else as an evolution. I feel that we just digressed and we degenerated for so long. Who knows how long, because history is his story. But yeah, the fact that we were, I believe we were beings of light, of prana, and whatever happened, there was consumption and more dense consumption that started to happen. And with that, the degeneration of our species. So coming back into this is the, you know, and going through and cleansing the vessel and, you know, feeling the difference and then continuing on that journey and realizing that it's actually just the real us. That's how we should be. And we are superhuman. We are beings of light. And it's a remembrance. It's nothing new. It's not new age. It's not, you know, some, I don't know, people call it new age, you know, new age thinking and all these. It's like now they're not eating. Now they're not eating meat. Oh, now they're not eating at all. Oh, that's a fad diet. No.
I don't know
No.
what. Yeah, I don't realize like I don't know who we think, like who do we think we are? You know? Who do we think we are? Like when we were, and this is just, I'm just imagining, right? Let me just imagine. I'm just imagining, how did we get here?
Mm.
Like how did we get here? With all that we have, these skyscrapers, these buildings, these grocery stores, these fast food chains, these restaurants, these, you know, billboards, these advertisements, this marketing, like these freezers, these refrigerators, you know, these pantries. Did we have this when we were in, you know, like our, what they call our Paleolithic ancestors that were migrating, that had that they were able to go long without food? You know, the hunters and gatherers, they just took what they could and they just kept going. You know, we didn't have pantries, we didn't have freezers, we didn't have refrigerators, we didn't have grocery stores. Who do we think we are? Like, how did
Right.
we get here? This is the same body. The same body that went through that is the same body. Like, you know, have we evolved to have all of this, like to eat all of this in abundance as though we're gonna die?
Mm.
Like we're gonna perish if we don't, you know? Like,
Yeah.
just think, how did we get here? We must
Oh,
have had to, you know, we must have. There's no way, because it wasn't like this.
no.
This is an invention. Even shoes, you know, to have shoes on your feet, that's an invention. We forget that's an invention.
Yep.
That was invented. That wasn't natural.
Mm.
We made that.
Mm.
We made that. I've heard of people in Australia that are just barefoot all the time, like walking at the grocery store barefoot, right? Yeah, you know, this
A
is
lot of that.
that's a
Yeah.
remembering. That's a remembering. We are remembering. I wish,
Mm.
I love to go to Australia to see people walking around barefoot. I would love to, you know, to see people like yourself, Nova, who have remembered, like remember. You
Mm.
know, somebody was looking at me the other day. He was like, he saw me barefoot, and he was like, man, I wish I could do that. I can't do that, but I wish I could. He said, that's how it's supposed to be. But man, the way my feet are, I can't do that. I wish I could do that. You
Mm.
know, it's like, why can't we do that? You know,
Mm.
like where have we gone that we have forgotten? You know, so thank you for helping us remember. You know, bringing the members back
Mm.
together. You know, yeah.
Members. I love that.
Yeah.
You can come and walk barefoot over here anytime, Jerome. You're welcome. Oh my gosh. Yes, please. Come through.
Much love.
Would love, would love to connect with you in person. And yeah, you know, here in the small towns, beach towns, people go mostly barefoot, not everywhere.
Okay.
But once you walk into the city space, you know, like I don't walk around the city barefoot. By the beach, yes, definitely. But yeah, otherwise, there's a lot of other stuff on our cemented and, you know, junk everywhere and glass broken everywhere and that sort of vibe. I'm sure you've got plenty of that. And I think that's where, you know, we get stuck into wearing footwear. We can even go further, and clothing, and you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Clothing is
That's a program I need to break that program, you know. Yeah, that's another program.
next minute. Yeah, but it's true. I mean, we're the only species that do these silly things.
Neil's just looking at me like he knows. He knows. He's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
see?
silly.
I
He's
don't know
like,
what
yeah,
you. What have you got on? What is that? What
what
are
is
you
that?
trying to be?
Right.
Oh, amazing! Thank you, Jerome. I don't want to take any more of your time.
I'm good.
We've got.
I'm good. I was good on time. I was all yours. You know, however long
Oh,
you wanted to go, I was ready. Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate you, and thank you everyone who's been on. I don't think I've missed. There's a few comments, but not many questions there. So,
Awesome.
any questions at all, you know, don't hesitate to contact Jerome or myself. And, you know, check out his page, his website, and follow him if you're not following already. What are you doing? If it resonates, follow. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have more of these conversations going. So big love.
Big love.
Thank you.
Big love.
Bye.
Take care.